Among all the aspects most crucial to the human question are the primordial virtue and the primordial vice, namely courage and cowardice. Courage is the impulse to externalize a will, while cowardice is the withholding of the ability to act in relation to a will. Note that in both cases, the will is the primary source, with rationality depending on the specification of how to apply the will, i.e., for example, that courage impels a soccer player to advance towards the goal to score, but it is his rational decision-making ability that will determine how he will perform the action. As far as the sense is concerned, courage can be understood as this impetus that goes from a point to its external, like lightning coming out of the body of the individual, and which therefore has many directions in which it can proceed, but only one sense, that is, the external sense, externalization. Cowardice, on the other hand, has an internal sense and only one direction, since it acts as a force, from outside inwards, holding back the movement of the being towards something. Therefore there are not many directions to follow, but only one. In the case of courage, given that it is an impulse to act, nothing guarantees that the action will necessarily occur, or that it will occur anyway, so even if there is the courage to do something, the action does not need to happen, much less to be executed in an arbitrary way and at the very moment when the desire blossoms in the depths of the being. Regarding value judgment, courage is always preferable to cowardice, regardless of whether the act is ethical or not, and the presence or absence of one of them in any case alters the value given to human life at the social level. As an example, a man who harasses women in a train is someone courageous, since he is impelled to act according to his will, while the virgin boy who is too shy to talk to a woman is a coward, since he withholds his action out of a fear intrinsic to his being given his virginity, out of a lack of courage stemming from his detestable existential situation. To better understand, the harasser, even though his act is ethically reproachable, only does it because of the virtue of courage, which could then be redirected to something good, which is exactly the goal of rehabilitation in prisons, while the young virgin has no impetus that can be directed to something good since he is a coward. If we analyze it well, we will realize that courage depends on the level of sociability of the individual, as well as on some natural predisposition still unknown to me, because the more integrated the individual is in society, the more comfortable he feels in externalizing his actions. Someone shy and reclusive, besides the difficulty he finds in making friends, also shows himself to be a cowardly person, for whom it is very difficult or even impossible to execute something in the direction of his desires. Such cowardly people, however, far from needing help and pity, are only dead weights, obstacles on the path of progress, necessary only when they bow their heads and carry out obediently and diligently the activities put before them. Usually, people who are naturally cowardly in social matters are also very different, which is always a defect, since difference means the inability to fit into the group of others, since practically every subculture, every informal group of people, subsists with the sharing among all members of the same type of behavior. Therefore being different only prevents one from fitting into the group, which is not something positive for the natural social instinct of the human being. The maximum degree of cowardice is presented in those who are incapable of fitting in with any group, being always afraid of others. The worst cowards are those who cannot find the courage for anything at all, these being the most useless of all men, whose only right they should possess is that of dying.